Hello, I'm Stuart Jordan. In the mid-80s I devised and formulated Turbo Builder's Bog. It replaces rotten timbers and pieces of missing timber. It was very successful, but you can't always remove all softened timber in deep holes like the mortise and tenon joint on our website. The very latest waterborne technology has enabled us to make Turbo Rot-Fix wood hardener. It penetrates, dries and cures chemically from a liquid plastic into a solid that encases the decayed wood fibre and preserves, hardens and waterproofs it. Richard, a professional builder, will show you how to use it, and I will finish off the job with Builder's Bog after the Rot-Fix cures.
Hi, this is our problem today. We've got a section of door jamb here that's rotten. We're going to fix that using Rot-Fix. The first step to fixing it is simply by removing the worst of the loose material by hacking it out. Okay, now that we've hacked out the worst of the loose material, we're going to fix it with the Rot-Fix, which will kill the rot and restore the hardness to the timber. So we spray the Rot-Fix on until the timber won't absorb anymore. Okay, so you can see here the timber's gone nice and hard and it's waterproof. We could leave it at that because the timber's now waterproof, but we're going to bog it and paint it.
Now, we'll take out enough to do the job all in one go, and I like to use a little white stick here, little TT2 stick, to keep everything nice and clean. And the way to do this is to imagine that you've got matchboxes full of hardener. So let's call those 2 matchboxes full. That's 3 and that's 4. 4 matchboxes full, roughly. It doesn't have to be exactly precise. And we'll put a blob on each one that goes with 1 matchbox full of hardener. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a little bit much on the first one, so I put a little bit less on the second one. And mix it all together very thoroughly, keeping it in the centre. But what you do have to make sure is that you get all the hardener in, and that's why we supply it as a pink hardener and not colourless, because the most often occurring failure is failure to mix the hardener perfectly in. So I'll scrape that off there. And I'll stop talking for a minute until this is mixed. Now I've mixed a reasonably slow brew with not much hardener, but still at the minimum, so that I've got plenty of time to form it in. You must make sure that there's no hardener left on the spatula to give a stripy and imperfect product. Now I'm going to put this in all in one go. Oops.
And I'm not going to bother to try and make it a perfect profile. I'm just going to put too much in because it's so easy to peel off afterwards. So you've got to work it in. Work it into the job. Remember, we're going to overfill it and then we're going to cut it back. I dropped a bit on the floor there, unfortunately, but never mind. And you see I'm wearing gloves because it can be a little bit messy. There's a loose piece here. Remember, putting plenty on. Don't worry about profiling it. We don't need to profile it. We just need to get on an excess so that if we're lucky, we won't have to have a second go. So there you are. I'll put some more on here. Well, there's a hole in there. It's an old bolt hole. Didn't realise it was there. In a few more minutes, the material will start to gel, and you can't work it anymore. So just make sure we've got a good excess on there. It's quite difficult to get this piece here proud. That should do it. Right. Now, we'll clean up on the board. Okay, so this was a fairly slow mix I made, and it's about 15 minutes. And we're able to trim it like a piece of cheese to get down to a nice size. And I can do that with a sharpened, well, not a sharpened, but the spreader that I use to spread it. So we'll trim it off, and this can be used to get into corners and things like that, because it's very hard to sand in a corner. So I can actually pick out the corner like this. It's possibly still just a tiny bit soft. We'll just let it harden a wee bit more, and it needs to be a tiny bit more, and we'll use a Surform plane to take off the bulk of the material. The blade's actually put into this plane backwards, but I'll use it backwards. And this will just come off much like balsa wood, very, very rapidly. And this is why you don't take much trouble to form the thing in the first place. See all the material coming off there? I've just reversed the blade, which was in the Surform file backwards for some reason. So you can see how easy this stuff is coming off. Far better to put an excess in. I'll use this blade here to get into this corner and just take that stuff out of the corner. You see, it's still like balsa wood, which is designed into the product. There we go. It's still slightly too sticky to sand at the moment, but we're going to take it down to almost the right profile and then we'll sand it. So you can see this is very, very easy what I'm doing. I should get behind it. My head will be in the way of the video, I apologise, but there we go. Get up here, square this off. I'm going to use two hands. You can use a longer blade for a bigger job, but it's not necessary on this one. A longer blade in the right tool, of course. So I'm going to use two hands here because all my talking's letting this go too hard. Okay, this is about 16 or 17 minutes since we mixed it. And I'm going to use 80 grit paper here. You don't need to go any finer than 80 grit to sand this off. If you wait a little bit longer, it won't clog the paper, but that hasn't really clogged. this is just a hand technique, of course. And very easy, very easy to sand. Let's just knock the corner off like the original timber was. Normally you'd wait maybe half an hour or an hour before painting, but for the purposes of this video, which we want to get done because it looks like more rain, we're going to paint it right now, and that'll be fine. This is just gloss white paint. And we like to say from go to woe in 1 hour, but we've done this one in far less than an hour. I think an hour is possibly a reasonable figure for a perfect job. But, I think you'll agree that was a pretty nice job we did there. There we go. We'll wash the brush up and go to the pub. We'll have a cup of tea.